You're listening to the WordPress and Tech podcast with Natalie Crow Designs and the NCD Academy, the podcast designed for non-techies in business wanting to build, improve, and maintain profitable WordPress websites without the tech overwhelm. I'm your host, Natalie Crow, creator of the NCD Academy WordPress 101 course and the NCD Tech Sessions membership. I'll be sharing with you tips, tricks, resources, and my take on WordPress from my 14 plus years industry experience as a WordPress expert. I'm a strong believer that tech is just a tool that we as business owners have access to share our message and help more people. So my goal here is to help you demystify the tech and help you make the most of your WordPress website. Let's dive in. Hey there, lovelies. Welcome to today's episode. So one of the things that I wanted to try and do with this podcast is to go through and make the actual episodes sequential. However, they're probably going to be more waves of consciousness in terms of the things that I'm sharing. So I want to jump in at the very beginning here and go through and actually touch on what fundamental issues I see people come up against in terms of when they first go through and decide that they want to use WordPress. I'll cover in regards to the actual what is WordPress, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit more in regards to the two different versions of WordPress that are available. So let's dive in. So WordPress itself, is a free, open source content management system, which sounds like a big mouthful, to actually say. But basically what it means is the core software that makes up the program is available to the public in order for the developers to go through and actually create new and creative tools and resources for the program. So WordPress itself allows you to go through, you can download a copy of the entire site, all the database, all that type of thing that you'd actually go through and utilize to run your system. And people can go through and actually create other resources. Whilst that's not necessarily helpful for you as a developer, like if you aren't a developer, there are lots of people that have gone through and created amazing things for us as users to use alongside the WordPress installation. That will help make our job or our life a lot easier. WordPress itself is basically just an online interface where you can actually log in and you can access a series of tools and functionality. The interface is called the dashboard, and the dashboard brings together all the essential tools in a central location that make building and managing your website easy. So it's a place where you can actually go in, put in your email or your username and password, log on in, and you'll actually see a series of things that you can actually click on. In here you can go through and create content. You can manage your files, so add your images and photos. You can go through and actually create blog posts. You can add new functionality like contact forms and things like that in the plugin section. You can control the look and feel of your website and a range of other things in terms of the actual care of your site and doing your maintenance. It's all in one central location and makes it super easy for us to go through and do so. So with the two different versions, there are actually two different versions of WordPress, and this is where a lot of people get unstuck or come unstuck. So there's a version called from WordPress.com, and there's also a version from WordPress.org. WordPress.com, the two different versions, one's a hosted version and one's a self-hosted version. So WordPress.com is the hosted version. So if you think of WordPress.com like a subscription, you basically go through, you can set up an account with them. It gives you all the basic functionality of what WordPress has. However, there's lots and lots of limitations. They don't allow you to go through and create custom functions. You can sign up for a free account with them on their website. And then if you want to do anything more, you've got to go through and actually pay premium to be able to use those advanced features. The one from WordPress.org is the self-hosted version, so it's basically just the software. The software is available for free to download and can be installed on almost any hosting environment. When you go through, you've got three parts to your website. So you've got the actual hosting, which is the storage of all the files related to your website. You've got your domain name, which is like your website address, for example, ncdacademy.com.au. And then you'll have the actual system that actually runs your website. Or in this case, we call it a CMS, a content management system. So the actual WordPress is a CMS, and that software itself is free for us to use. However, you will need hosting and a domain to actually have that set up. So the two differences there, WordPress.com is a subscription service that allows you to go through, set up an account with them. They control your website. You don't own your stuff. But let's have a look at more specifically why that actually matters. I primarily specialize in the actual WordPress.org version or the self-hosted version. I find that it gives us a lot more control and capabilities in what we're doing. So a hosted content management system, let's say, are owned by the company providing the service. You don't have full control over your site. Let's say, the system that it runs on. The company actually governs the rules which your website is able to follow. You usually pay a premium to do various tasks like add more advanced features or add e-commerce or an online shop or anything like that. You're limited by a set of options and functionality what's offered by that service, but a part of their premium that you actually pay to them, usually a monthly fee or an annual fee, they take care of the maintenance and security. So that's our WordPress.com, our subscription service. Let's say most hosted websites, don't allow you to go through and actually take a great deal of backups. So basically, if you were to go through and do a backup of your website, some of the other examples of hosted systems might be Wix, WordPress.com, Teachable, Squarespace, Kartra, Weebly, etc. If you were to go through and try and actually do a backup of your website using those systems, you'd be able to back up maybe some of your content, but overall you couldn't back up the system that it's on. So if you had to move systems or you outgrew your current plan, you'd either have to pay a higher premium or rebuild your website on a new system. So it's something to consider if you were going to go through the effort of actually building a system or building a new website and getting it up and running. Is it something that you want the peace of mind of being able to go through and do a full backup? If you want to actually expand and grow and you get tired of the current system, like the actual hosting company maybe they're not up to scratch. For example, we've heard a lot in regards to Kartra and a few different places like that didn't quite, they've dropped the ball a few times recently. But all these people that have gone through and built their sites on these hosted systems, they basically have to go through and rebuild again. So it's quite frustrating, and I can understand why so many people are now looking at self-hosted. In terms of self-hosted systems, the systems are usually free that you can be downloaded and installed and on any reliable hosting system. The website hosting account is usually really super cost effective. So for example, buying an actual, your hosting is often a lot cheaper than what these systems usually charge. So you can go through depending on where you are, in the world. Some of them anywhere between $15. I'm saying dollars here, but $15 to $30 a month, whatever, depending on what or where you're located. And domain names are anywhere from $10 through to $30, depending on what it is. To go through. So realistically, you can go through and actually pick up those hosting accounts. Quite easily, and they're pretty much available from any reliable hosting company. But going through, if you can budget in to actually pay for those, ahead of time, you know that you've actually got that covered, and you've just got to go through and make sure that your business covers your expenses. That's a whole conversation. But yeah, with the self-hosted version, you have a full control of your website over whatever functionality you want to utilize and install. You don't have as many restrictions, like for example, WordPress.com, they've got a list of specific plugins and themes that you're allowed to use. With the actual self-hosted version, you can install whatever you want. You don't need to pay every time that you add a new functionality. Most of these hosted systems actually have limitations to that. However, you are responsible for going through and actually doing your own website maintenance and security. The other thing here, you can create more bespoke websites with an integrated systems to suit your business with self-hosted. You can take a full backup of your website, including the system that it's on. Say, for example, if you need to restore it or you're unhappy with your hosting provider and you decide that you want to move. And there are so many more options available in terms of flexibility and functionality. We have so many different things that we can actually do with WordPress, no matter what business it is that you're running. Whether you need a really basic website to get started or you need a fully integrated system. Realistically, I've got my academy running, so I've got what they call a learning management system on my WordPress site. I've got e-commerce on there. I've got my actual blog systems. I've got directories. I've got different things all incorporated into the actual website, and it runs beautifully. But it's something that can be very flexible and customized to suit your business depending on what you need. But yeah, that's just a little bit of an overview as to what WordPress is and the two systems. So just to recap, WordPress itself is an open source, it's a free open source content management system. Basically, it just means that the software is available for everyone to download, that you can actually go through and utilize the system for free. You've got your dashboard where you'll go through and control your website. You'll log in and it's got all your tools there. there are two different versions, WordPress.com, which is the subscription site, and WordPress.org, which is just the software that you install or get installed on your actual hosting. So you can pretty much go to SiteGround, or here in Australia we use Venture IP. I've got a couple of UK hosting companies that I use as well. And we do actually host websites in globally here. So I've got UK, Australian hosting, and US hosting. So it's depending on where you are in the world. If you do need that, feel free to sing out as well. But yeah, those are the things to consider, and I hope that's helpful for those that are considering what option to take. But yeah, there's definitely two versions of WordPress that you need to be aware of, and what I'm looking at, WordPress.com or WordPress.org, it's always going to be my recommendation to look at getting reliable WordPress hosting and actually getting it set up through your actual hosting. But Sam, we can talk a little bit more about that, but just on the final note for today's episode, if you are looking for hosting for WordPress, if you go to Google and actually just type in a reliable WordPress hosting and your location, that might be your state or some country, you'll get a list of different recommendations for you as to the top location. You always want to go through and actually pick a hosting company that's in your location, because realistically the delivery of your actual content and for search engine optimization, you want to make sure that you've got hosting that's actually within your location, so your country primarily. But yeah, I hope that helps, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. You've been listening to the WordPress and Tech podcast with Natalie Crow. I'd love for you to go through and subscribe so you don't miss any of my next episodes. Also head over to ncdacademy.com.au/podcast for all of our free resources and tools and tips.